Hello everyone! Sorry for the lack of devlogs on this channel. We have been working hard on ABR for many months now, and started our beta testing. There is more content to finally share with everyone. We've been posting updates as we develop on our Patreon. If you are interested in seeing our progress and supporting us, please check it out! Now here are some updates from the team.
There have been so many new features that we've added to our game since we last spoke. I'll start with expanding a bit on the previously known content. We have been developing a lot of the features around the NPC trains that you share the rails with. This includes train crashes, we've added signal blocks, and we've even added the trains whistling back at you. I've been working with Nathaniel on designing these features and will continue to make more content to make the NPC trains feel much more alive.
Since I last talked to you all about the world and art of ABR, I've been busy with tons of landscaping and set dressing on our main map. All 4 of our game's regions have been defined now, and I think I can finally honestly see the finish line for all of them. One of my biggest focuses has been city planning for the 3 largest cities on the map, with our capital city Blow Whistle being the most important. This is the place players will start their games, and it's also the most train-centric city on the map, where you'll find the big yard, where the first handful of roundhouses which are spread throughout the map are, and the Lily and Putt Railroad's central station. In a similar vein to the design of our smaller depot, I looked to the Disneyland Main Street Station for inspiration for the structure, taking the core of the building, and its clock tower, as the main references for how I wanted it to look. Taking additional visual cues from a couple of other stations that I'll throw up on the screen now, I think it does a great job communicating the language of a more developed and well-off city's station, while still feeling really cute and in line with the game's style. I knew that I wouldn't be able to do all the structures in this game alone, so I recruited the help of my incredibly talented artist friend Ashley for creating most of the non-railroad buildings you see in the game. She's been pivotal in getting our world filled out with all these unique buildings and has helped further define the look and feel of the game. I'm sure you've noticed them by now, but Blow Whistle also has its own train network that runs throughout the city. The Blow Whistle Street Railway. These little guys are based on Baldwin's steam dummies and can be seen and heard trundling through the city streets helping our tiny denizens get around. The big yard is still under development, but we're making good progress on it. The roundhouses you see are the same architectural style as those found elsewhere on the map, but it is the only city you will see 2 of them in the same place. Some other structures found near the tracks are being created by my friend, artist, and fellow train nerd Harrison. I want to give Big Yard a proper segment in a future video, so I will leave the details about the inspirations for whenever that gets covered. Now that Blow Whistle was shaping up to be the capital city I envisioned it as, I knew it was time to start fleshing out the other regions more as well. One of the new regions in the game, Bayou Bel Nuit, has been the next major focus of mine. Inspired by fan art from the artist Bo Benny, we loved the vibes and loved the idea of a bayou area. We'd previously planned a water portion of the track that we wanted to reference Spirited Away with, so this felt like a fantastic union of those 2 ideas. All said, introducing Cattail, home of the Cattail Queen and lush river landscapes. Players will be able to drive through the swamps and mists surrounded by the beauty. Josh and Savvy have both been begging me to add fireflies, and I think that those will really be the cherry on top.
Each biome started with a designated tree type, but now that the desert is packed with flora, other areas require some additional care. The snow and bayou areas were my next targets. The snowy mountain received a more snow-covered tree and several flowers and bushes with berries that look edible but are probably poisonous. Do not eat them.
Don't eat that!
The bayou received variants of the Louisiana giant cypress tree and variants of cattails. I created a new crescent moon brush for the cypress leaf shapes. Creating a bunch of new custom brushes for this project has been really fun. Then I applied swaying to the long leafy vines for more movement on the tree. The cattails with separate levels of detail meshes like the grass are a staple of real-life swamps that completed the picture of the biome. Now if only there were fireflies.
As Nathaniel, SABRYNNA, and Ashley have been working on making a beautiful world, I've been behind the scenes adding in some features that I've been so excited to make since we began. The main feature that I'm talking about is the achievements. I've had to learn how to implement achievements and have them transfer from in-game over to Steam. It was quite a fun process to figure that out and also make up a bunch of unique achievements and scenarios for players to experience. I made sure that the achievements appeared both in-game and in Steam, that way you could view them without leaving the game.
Hi, this is editing Nathaniel here. We recorded most of this devlog before the holidays. It's now, as I'm recording this now, it's currently January 16th, 2026. We didn't foresee this devlog taking this long to come out, so a lot more has actually happened since this was recorded and edited. I debated not showing that content and just pushing this out as a sort of interim video, but I think that it's worth covering some of the more content, so I'm just going to narrate us through some of the additional stuff we've done since then. You likely caught glimpses of it during the devlog, but the snow region has received a ton of love in terms of its props and architecture and buildings. Ashley has just been pumping out buildings, and her work is just phenomenal. I can't thank her enough for the contribution she's making to the project. Snowball in particular is one of my favorites right now, with its giant ski lodge, and the work that she's doing up in Aurora, which I'll show right now in blockout form, is just great. She's doing such a good job, and I can't wait to see this city finished. I'm not going to show too much of this region, but the deep forest area has also received a pretty serious overhaul visually. We now have a giant tree that sort of looms in the distance when you're starting the game, and you'll find out about that region as you progress. You can also see there's some mountain towns back there sort of tucked away. It's quickly becoming one of the prettiest areas in the game in terms of foliage, and I think that people are really going to like it. I've been working on a ton of VFX and SFX related tasks recently. I did eventually add those fireflies that Josh and SABRYNNA were so frequently asking me for, and I do think they turned out very cute. They were right. But it's just all been a lot of polish in terms of the actual mechanics and the way that it's all going visually. The love that we've been putting into it, I think, has only been getting stronger. The biggest features that we're working on right now revolve around the sort of storyline progression, the quest line, if you will, as well as building out the tutorial level. I'm not going to show any real footage from those just because I feel like that spoils a bit too much of the actual content of the game, but rest assured we're working hard with our beta testers to make sure that it's fun and enjoyable and that the progression makes sense for the kind of game that we're going for. I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton back over to In the Past Nathaniel, who I think is going to talk about some game jam content we made and close out the video. Alright, bye-bye. There is so much already present in the world of A Bumpy Ride, with even more coming, and we are diligently working to keep making progress on the project. These devlogs tend to be a bit behind the curve on where the project actually sits, as we don't want to spoil the full game's content before release, so we won't be sharing everything just yet. The three of us recently had the chance to come together and have a weekend game jam, and wound up creating a small horror fighting game called Apollo 3. We had recorded a lot of the process of making that game in hopes of churning out a video on it, but we just never found the time, so if you're interested in checking it out, you can play it for free on itch.io, link in the description. Feel free to join our Discord to ask questions, give suggestions, or just hang out. So much of the game's current state comes from community suggestions, and we just can't thank everybody enough for all the support. We just broke 5,000 wishlists on Steam, which is crazy, and we're stoked for the future of A Bumpy Ride. If you'd like to offer further support, we also have a Patreon where we post behind-the-scenes content, screenshots, and run patron-exclusive events. Links for both of those communities will also be down below. I'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons who have subscribed to the Celestial Steer. Did you 555, Jess, Marvin Schnell, Swammy Whammy the Train Boy, Feedwater, RWD, Edward Sands, Wild Bison, Brandon Morrow, Joshua Brunet, Jester Kid, Black Smame, Jacob, and Colt Zink. It is thanks to your generosity that making A Bumpy Ride is possible. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.